use either in dating or all of our relationship, which are quality time, physical touch, acts of service, gifts, and words of affirmation. Our last two shows, we talked in great detail on what those things were. So I welcome you to watch our previous shows so that you can get an idea of what those actually are. We'd love to have you call in. I don't know if you've been watching or if you're just coming into the show right now. We'd love you to call in at 561-660-7653. We also have a website. Lava, can you?
Yes. That's www.usdiscoverytalent.com.
Thank you.
usdiscoverytalent.com.
Thank you. So, we were talking about the dating scene when we went to a break, and how difficult sometimes it can be to date. But that it doesn't have to be that way. Maybe what we need to do is to look at each other as not as men and women, but just as to look at each other as human beings and trying to get to know that other person on a deeper level. Would anybody like to speak on that?
On a deeper level, I like that statement, on a deeper level. Because getting to know someone on a deeper level is what grows the relationship. And to become open with each other in every level of, of growing together. So getting deeper into a relationship is something I desire to have and to do when I commit my life back to someone. To be in a deep relationship, honest, open,
Intimacy,
romance, all of the above.
Do you feel like you're ready?
Yeah, I do feel like I'm ready. It's been some years being single, and for the last 7, I've definitely been taking time out for myself and growing spiritually, mentally, and physically in what relationships really mean, not just with myself, but with my family, with my son, my father, things that I wasn't doing before when I, in building relationships in the past, because I was always about me, I was always busy, and as Mr. Diddy called me, I was, a juggler. So,
a juggler or a jiggler?
Juggler. So it's really been a great change for me in my life to be in light of really how to live now in a relationship.
Yeah.
And that's through just being honest with yourself and saying, Lord, help me to be better.
Right.
Show me the ways, your ways, because your ways are not my ways, and your thoughts aren't my thoughts. So give me those things that would make someone feel loved and treasured, and it wasn't always about the opposite person in my life making it a problem. I probably was a problem too, and not wanting to give in and thinking that I was always right and giving up a fight when I don't have my way, or it's my way or the highway, all those crazy attitudes that you should not have in relationships. So,
hallelujah.
So
I like to do that.
Hallelujah is right. That freedom is great, and that's what brings you into depth and deepness in a relationship.
Has anybody ever experienced arguing with somebody, but it turns out to be a better understanding? In other words, you were able to overcome the anger, you were able to get closer to that person because you had a better understanding with them.
Through an argument?
Through an argument, through a disagreement, and then you grew to love them more, and all of a sudden it's like, hallelujah, something happened.
I don't think initially when the argument took place, but maybe
afterwards, after reflecting,
Mhm.
then you came from a different place of not being so much in your emotions
Mhm.
that you could really look at it for what it was.
Mhm.
I mean, I think I've been there before, but not in the middle of an argument and got an aha moment. The aha moment's
Always
after.
after.
Yes.
I
But-
agree.
Sometimes things have to escalate, and that, you know, the truth of it is that an argument, disagreements happen, and we have to figure out, you know, you have to find a way to communicate, and sometimes we aren't even always consciously aware
Mhm.
that we need to address something, and then it's how do you address it?
Yeah.
Because my husband used to always say, she wants to talk. Oh, I know that there's something we're going to have another discussion about, and he would find a way. He would find a way to not have that discussion. But we would find the way. We finally, after being married as long as I was, we find the way to do it. It wasn't always on my terms. But it just
I think
has to happen at times, and sometimes it escalates, and that's
I've
the truth of that.
experienced that where you try to have a conversation with someone, and the time you try to have the conversation, they're not hearing you.
Mhm.
So I would select a time
Mhm.
where I knew that person would be less defensive
Mhm.
when you would have a discussion. The only thing, one of the things I think I have learned, one thing is not to make assumptions.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I was always really guilty about making
Me
assumptions
too.
and not really expressing how I really felt about something.
Mm.
And then my assumption would be that you should know me, so you should know exactly what I needed or wanted at the time, expecting individuals to be mind readers.
Yeah.
And they are not mind readers. You have to let someone know
Very good.
in a defensive
Confrontational.
or confrontational way
Mhm.
what you need.
Mhm.
That's real good.
And I think that's so important to say that you found the right time too. I mean, that doesn't always happen, but if you're consciously aware and you care about another person, you want it to be the right time, so that you can have that open discussion.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
I would like to add that conflicts will happen. It's part of life. We can agree to disagree, you know. And I'm not afraid of disagreement. I'm afraid of somebody who is not willing to listen, you know, to
Receive.
yeah, exactly. And it's just part of life. You're different. You were raised differently. You have different views. We cannot expect that the person that we are with is always gonna agree with everything we say and everything we want. But the thing is, again, love makes you wanna work things out, you know, compromise, or maybe I don't like something, but just because you like it, I'm gonna try to tolerate it with you and do it with you because I love you that much, you know. And it just, like I said, there's no perfect relationship. You're gonna
There
have
is
some
no
moment.
perfection. That's
Yeah,
true.
you just have to be willing to work it out, to work things out.
I do want to bring to the attention of everyone that Dr. Chapman does talk about, although opposites attract, and that works at times, if you are with an opposite person, you're going to have more disagreements than if you are with someone that is more like you. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, finding somebody that's more like you isn't always easy,
Mm-mm.
and opposites do attract.
Yeah.
Because that's where the physical attraction comes in. But then when you get beyond that, if you, and it doesn't mean that if you're with somebody or you're dating somebody that is opposite than you, that it's not gonna work, that's not what I'm saying. It just means you're gonna have more disagreements because you view the world very differently. Probably one of the reasons why you're with that person is because they're giving you something that about yourself, something's missing, that they're filling a need.
Mhm.
But the more that you're with a person that's more very similar, more similar to you, more likes, whether it be enjoying the things that you enjoy doing together, whether it be like going out to restaurants, or if you, if there's a sport that you love, that you have an interest that's together, you're bonding without even thinking about it. So when you're dating, and this is something I learned by reading this book and listening to him, that it makes more sense to find somebody that is similar interests and that you have a common ground with.
Yeah.
Does anybody want to comment on that?
What you just said just support what I said earlier. So when you really wanna have a long-term relationship with
Right.
someone, you gotta look for someone that has a lot of things in common with you.
Right.
You know, because I mean, when you're dating and you're young, it's okay because you're trying to, I mean, gain experiences and everything. But as we get older and we understand really what marriage is really about,
Mhm.
and we know what marriage, I mean, we just have to look for someone who has a lot of things in common with us.
Mhm.
You know.
Mhm. Thank you.
Of the subject, Angel,
Yes.
I know I've asked you a couple of times, where is your book?
It's here.
I did promise for you to show the people your book. Could you put it a little bit closer? Okay. And yeah, what's the name of your book?
The title is Divine Intimacy, Words from Women.
Where would people are watching would like to find your book and your tape where they can purchase it? Where can you send them?
Okay, they can contact me directly via my phone, which is 561-389-8956, or they can email me at Mariette, M-A-R-I-E-T-T-E, Angel 76@gmail.com, or they can order it online on at zulonpress.com. They have a store online. Zulon is Xulon Press, Press, and also they can find it on Amazon and Barnes and Nobles and things like that.
Can you tell us a little bit about your book?
Yes, please.
Yes, Divine Intimacy is a compilation of heartfelt prayers and poems appealing to different types of readers, and a lot of these poems came after praying, after worshiping, and it's just things that, like the title, as the title says, it's really about intimacy, my intimacy with God, my relationship with God, and they just, whatever I shared in the book comes from the heart. And the language is very simple, you know, like I said, it appeals to different type of readers. It's very simple to read. And I just share my experiences, my pain, my disappointments, and my views on love, what love should be. I believe that, you know, anybody that reads it will find something. And I do have verses that I chose verses that kind of match whatever I wrote. So, yeah, so I really appreciate it.
Can you share one with
Yeah,
us, please?
yeah.
Yes, I believe I saved one page here. The title is If Jesus Is. So if Jesus is my fortress and my light, why should I worry and fear tomorrow? At his feet, I must simply drop all sorrow and continue to love him with all my might. If Jesus is my defender and stronghold, why should I be shaken and troubled? He is my hope, my sword, and my shield. To attacks and pressures, I must not yield. In Jesus' name, by faith, victory is mine. I shall surely see the sunshine again. As a good soldier of faith, I must stand, and to spiritual wars and trials never bend. So do not fear, That's the verse that goes along with the poem. So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous hand. And Isaiah 41 verse 10.
That's
Beautiful.
beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
And what really inspired you to write that book?
Well, I have been writing for a long time, since I was about 16, songs and poems. Anything that came into my head was my therapy, you know, because, one day I just wanted to leave something behind, you know, like a legacy, like if I die so my kids can see, you know, things that I wrote, and also a way to share, you know, things for the people. Maybe they can learn something, maybe it can help someone, because my purpose is to always help others. I love helping others out, and so that was the goal, to help others, you know, and to prevent them from going through what I went through, you know, hopefully. That's hopefully. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. That's wonderful.
And the name, how did you come up with the name? Divine?
Again, divine is because of God.
Okay.
He's my inspiration. He's my everything. He's the one who helps me go through all the trials in life. And he's just my inspiration. He's the one who gave me the words. So, and it's through my relationship with him that I was able to write the book.
Are you writing any
the
other
wor-
books?
I actually started one. That wasn't the one that was supposed to be published, but somehow, I wrote one. Yeah, it's not quite finished yet, but it's also about experiences, childhood things that I've experienced. But you know, I wrote it like as if it were like a story, and I can't wait to finish it and publish it as well. Yeah.
That divine intimacy, what does the intimacy mean to you?
A connection, some kind of, it's a relationship, you know. When you have a relationship with someone, you feel at ease, you feel comfortable opening up to this person, and that's how I feel with God. I don't have to hide anything. He knows everything about me already, you know, and he's willing to forgive me when I make mistake, and I know he's always available, unlike us human beings, you know. We get busy, but God is always available.
So it's your true love connection is what it is.
Do you think people really know what intimacy means?
Well, it's different for everyone, but that is important to, what does it mean to you?
Being open and connecting truly from the heart has nothing to do with touching or being physical, like some people think.
Yeah.
And that I thought when I was younger. So I learned that intimacy is a very powerful word, and if you can share that intimacy with someone very, very special, that can bloom into something everlasting.
Everlasting.
Just like our everlasting God and our
That's
relationship we have with Him
That's
is
right.
everlasting through intimacy.
Okay, somebody share some things exciting, sexy, hot, spicy, piquante.
Wow.
I know it.
Spicy and
You can
hot.
tell there's a man in the room.
It's starting to rise. Well, we had.
Surprise me.
Well, Mr. DT, what does intimacy mean to you? Does it mean hot and sexy? What does that word mean to you?
Are you sure, ladies? You want to go down that?
Absolutely.
You sure you want to? You want to step in that train?
Yes.
go right ahead.
We absolutely need to.
Okay. When I was young, or when I was single, or right now?
Whatever you want to speak
I
on.
think right now.
Right now.
I say
That,
right
that's
now.
the mature
Yeah.
Mr. DT.
Grown and sexy.
It's
Mr. D.
grown.
Okay. Oh, by the way, as a matter of fact, it's hotter now.
Oh Oh, I bet it is.
Amen.
It's hot. It's getting hot in here.
What was your question, man?
Can you describe the word intimacy, what it means to you today?
Intimacy in what level? When it's come to God,
No, when it comes to something hot,
I will
spicy,
come.
and-
I'll tell you, trust me. I'll tell you.
Fire.
When it's come to God, my first love is God. That's number one. That's my first love is God. The fact that I never, I grew up without a father. So I learned to communicate with God just like we're having a conversation. Even here in my office, a couple times my assistants came and say, "Are you okay?" I say, "I'm having a conversation." Say, "Where's the person?" I say, "God." The way I talk to God, I remember when I was growing up, because I didn't have a father, when the children, my classmates, they were talking about their dad. Me, I was talking about my dad. My dad was Jesus. And I feel like I'm blessed. God loves me so much. He didn't want to share me with anybody else. That's how when I was growing up, this is I strongly believe.
That's right.
He didn't want to share me with anybody. So I never miss the fatherly love. I never miss that, because when I say that to someone, they think that I'm crazy. But you have to have a deep relationship with God for you to understand that. When I say that, I get to a point when I was young kids, even 10, 11, never miss a manly, fatherly presence in my life. You know what I mean? Because God was there, and I never know the experience that you've been disappointed by your father. I never knew that, so it's a blessing. So honestly, every time that I need something, I go to God. I can tell you that I can't even think one day I went to God and asked Him for something for Him not to provide it. Sometimes certain things happen in my life, I just stop and laugh. And I look at Him and I look up and I say, "You are funny." You know?
Yeah, a humorous God.
Yeah.
Lots of
About
laughter.
other
Are we
part,
trying to learn today?
relationship, you say, what is deep love?
Intimacy, what is it?
Intimacy.
The word intimacy.
Your word intimacy has nothing to do about sex. Has
No.
nothing to do with sex. Intimacy is the part that, to me, is knowing that you're living your life is not for yourself, it's for your partner. And it's not that the big things that you do, it's the little things. I'm a poet also. I love writing poetry. And I only write about love. I guess it has a lot to do with the fact that I didn't have the love of a father beside God. And also, I spend most of my time contemplating nature. And anything, when I write anything that move in nature become I can make the ocean speak. I can make the tree dance. I can make, when I say make them, I describe in a different world. You know what I mean? So, and my wife, she's the one who been benefits of that. So, I have a very adventurous mind, okay, and a creative mind. When it comes to intimacy, I thank God allowed me to have a beautiful experience because I travel a lot. And when I was growing up, so if I feel like this weekend I want to be somewhere, I just pick up in when I was younger. And especially when I was working at the courthouse, I just pick up and experimenting. When I say experimenting, not like I was sexually involved in anything. It's just like friends, intimacy. I take it at a different level. People say the word, they use the word love very lightly. Me, it's different. It's different. Love is something that is undescribable. And I can tell you, my friend, when you're talking about that, I pray that everyone has God bless them enough to allow them to experience the true intimacy and the true love. You know what I mean? As a man, when it's come to intimacy, it's just like you can't even understand it. You can't even describe it.
It's a feeling more than it is words.
That's correct. You can't even, if you get to a point you can describe intimacy, that's when you have not really, really experimented to the depth what intimacy is.
Right.
I guess because I'm a writer, a poet, to me words has a different meaning. You know, I when it's come to relationship and also love, I carefully use the word that I use to describe things. You know what I mean? So, for example, you can see the light. You see there's a light, candle light there. To me, I see something completely different. So intimacy, to me, is something extremely deep. You know, extremely deep.
Touchable but not touchable. Sounds odd, but
As a poet,
Yeah.
did I say something? Did I mean?
Yeah, but you kind of throw it around the.
I know.
Example. But I think intimacy is when you really feel like you belong. You belong with this person. This person belongs. I mean, you feel like you know you wouldn't want to be with anybody else. That's when you really become intimate.
soul
You know,
connection.
yeah. That's
So
it's about the connection.
it's
you're
connection.
connected on all
Yeah,
levels.
I did.
Spiritually,
I did.
physically.
I mean, when first of all, I
Even when the
connect
person
with
is
God.
not perfect, you're not perfect, but you love the person with the flaws. You know,
Right.
you know you have flaws too, but the flaws do not impact the
The,
love.
Right.
the,
Those
only,
are-
the
you know,
only way when you
yeah.
know that
Mhm.
you intimately connect with that person is when you wake up, you want to kill that person, and at the same time say, I love her, and you cannot live without that person.
That's right.
That's what you call true relationship. You know, you hate that
And we
person.
don't always like the person we're with, but you
That's-
love them.
That's
Right.
it. You know what I mean? You can
Right.
live. To me, I have a. My mind is completely different from anybody.
It's complicated.
I think intimacy, I think is generally what everyone's saying, but it's also different for each person.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because of our belief
Because
systems.
of, you know, what would be intimate to you may not be the same thing
To another.
for another person.
Mhm.
But as long as the person you're with, then it's the same, you know, you're intimate together, then that's all that really matters.
That's right.
Yeah. That's it.
But I
That's right.
think that the best place we can learn it is having that intimate relationship with Jesus.
Yeah.
Because
It's
if
the
you've
best
never
teacher.
experienced even the word of intimacy, maybe
You won't know
you have
what it
never
is.
experienced it. But once you experience it with God and Jesus, then you know what that feels like. You're accepted on such a personal level. Who you are as a human being, the good and the bad, right?
That's right. You
The
want
good and the bad.
that person you want to cry your eyes out to them,
Yeah,
and they feel you,
yeah.
and you feel them as
Yeah.
they listen and as they comfort you. Yeah.
Amen.
That's it.
Preach it, sister.
This feeling that we have an ally with us, you know,
Yes,
somebody
yes.
who's gonna stand by us no matter what.
So how do we get that? Is that your question? I'm just messing with you.
Come on, double
Yes.
Come on, double
Is that your question?
Yes.
Double L, what's the
You asked me
question?
earlier, where do you find that? So I'm messing with you. Is that in your mind? Where do I get
I
that?
think too, you have to be free to be who you really are with that person, and that you're not hiding behind different things. I know that I shared with some people. Know I've had lupus for 28 years. So for me to be intimate with someone, they have to be with me. I mean, intimate where they don't feel my pain, but they understand my pain.
Right.
And I don't have to wear the mask when either I'm going through chemo or I had a stroke like 3 or 4 years ago. I mean, I see the stroke, but everybody else doesn't see the stroke. But that person would be where I wouldn't feel like I have to hide it, you know, where I wear my hair, I wear makeup a certain way. It's like that person, I'm gonna be
Yourself.
myself, lady style with the lupus, and don't hide the medication. Don't, like, I've been on dates and my face might have been a little bit fat from the prednisone, and I would say, oh, I just have an upper respiratory infection, because you're afraid to let that person know that you have a chronic, illness, according to the doctors, that there's no cure for. But
Right.
it's for me.
So how are you coping with that now in your life
It's just
when
been,
it comes to relationship? Are you being out,
I'm not
putting it
sure.
out there?
I'm not sure, because you know that person will let me know who they are, because then I wouldn't feel like so protective, like I can't let you know. You know, like, how was your day? Oh, well, I had a kidney doctor and I had the neurologist. You know, you're just you'll know that person will know that you don't seem like yourself one day. What's going on? You know, then you feel like you're easing into it. I don't know, because I know a lot of men, unfortunately, they run when it comes to illness. Like my dad, he can't even get his blood drawn without my mother. He can't look, just to be there to hold his hand, and so you can imagine.
I've learned one thing in relationships about honesty. I think it's best to be shared up front early, early on than later, especially. Sometimes we think we have to draw them in to get them more compassionate and caring about us before we can actually share a part of who we are. But you
If
know,
they're gonna run, they're gonna run.
Right.
Exactly.
They're gonna run.
You
I'd
said
rather
it.
them
Better
run
go
than
right up
run
front than
later.
later down
yeah,
in
if
the
they're gonna run,
relationship.
let them run in, they will run.
Absolutely.
So I've learned
Because
that. I think that is very
it
important.
truly shows you that they're not committed to the same thing.
Yeah, there you go.
They're not committed to you,
It'll
nor are they
definitely
committed to
show
anything
that.
else, whether it be the
That's
Lord
a
or.
part of who I am. And when you have
Sometimes-
someone to say, oh, well, honey, that doesn't matter.
That's
That
when you know
right
the
there
person really
tightens the
cares.
screw up a couple notches. Tightens that
Yeah,
screw up a couple
exactly.
notches.
Yeah.
Did I hear that right?
Well,
Well,
Double L wanted to say something.
Oh, what I always heard about intimacy was into me see.
oh, yes, I get that.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
Wow,
great.
I
That's
like
great.
that.
That's great, double L.
Intimacy.
I like that.
Where did you get that?
See me.
Yeah.
I've heard that for years. Yeah, into me see.
Yeah.
See me, see within me. And that's just
That's it.
discover me.
What everybody was describing.
Yeah,
Very
that's
nice.
exactly what we're describing. I like that.
And who doesn't want to hear that? Everybody wants to hear that, right? Intimacy. I like that.
While I was watching you mouth it. That's good. We need to spell that out. Put that on our Facebook.
So I think that we are going to be ending our show in a few minutes, and I would just like to wrap it up. And is there anything that anybody would like to say before we end the show?
yes, please
You like
let the audience know after the show is over. Some of them, they waited after the show is over and to blast the phone line, hoping to find a
Oh.
live person.
Oh.
The funny part, during the day, this is what we're dealing with. People calling, I call for this show, or I call for this show.
After, you mean the
After,
telephone?
yes.
Our
Right,
show is
so
finished.
anyone that's watching, the telephone number of 561-660-7653 is for during the show, not after the show, just so that you do know. We're looking to get your thoughts and ideas of what we've talked about tonight. So if you would like to share those thoughts though after, you can go to the website, I believe,
On the email.
US
or
It's
email. Can you-
www.radio@usdiscoverytalent.com. That's the
Okay.
email address.
Okay,
And the website is www.usdiscoverytalentradio.com. And they'll find the email address and everything.
and if you would like to learn more about the 5 love languages, just Google it, there's a lot of information on it.
Huh.
And I would recommend that you probably take a test to learn about which love language that is yours, because then once you learn about yourself, then you can learn about another person that you care about. So thank you for
Joining our show.
listening to us tonight.
So, if you're still listening, we'd love to hear what's on your mind. And we'd also like to thank our guest this evening for sharing her heart, her passion, and her book with us, Divine Intimacy,
Words from within.
Words from Within.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
It was a pleasure having you.
Yes.
We look forward to see you again.
Absolutely.
I hope we didn't, I hope we were not too hard on you.
No, it was a pleasure.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night. You can join us on Saturday